Well, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the Scary Station.
The station.
Today, it's pretty interesting. It's not serial killers or anything. It's just a really infamous case that happened in the 90s, actually.
Right. These are one of the two most fucking fucked up individuals. I didn't know until you told me.
Yeah.
I think I saw it on Netflix, but I was I just skipped through it.
So we are going to be talking about the Menendez. Oh my god.
Not Mendes, which I thought it was Mendes at first.
I thought so too. It's not Mendes. It's Menendez.
It's Menendez.
I cannot say that for life. Anyway, the brothers.
Just to get it out there, because it wasn't a Mendes, right? It was the Menendez.
The Menendez.
If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I was like, damn, Menendez did that? Nah, Menendez.
Menendez. Yeah, so this is a really famous and infamous murder that happened in 89 where these two brothers. I thought I knew this case just because, like, it was so famous and, you know, like, you just...
I didn't know about it.
Well, when you're in, I guess, like, the true crime world in a way, like, you know, I've kind of known about this, and... obviously it was going on when I was born, but I was 2-3 when the trials were happening on TV, so it's just like obviously wasn't happening while I was really watching it. But you know, a lot of people from the 90s, like if you have memories, you know, if you're old enough to remember, like a lot of them, you know, remember this on TV.
Oh, dude. This
case actually started the whole like court TV, reality TV type shit.
Right, with
it was
cameras.
this one. Mm-hmm.
Right. But hold on, before we get into that.
I think he wanted you guys to check out our Instagrams, actually.
Check out. And the merch, and that too.
And the merch. What kind of merch is this?
This is the squad's merch. Oh, this is not the squad. This is a station. We already have things set up for that. But we're just waiting on a few little knickknacks.
Yes. No, but this is the squad stuff. Over here, Alejandro or Alex.
Some people call me Alejandro.
But he has actually another show, The Squad, where you guys talk about conspiracies, random just shit talking majority of the time. Yeah, pretty interesting. There's like a new guest like pretty much every week.
Yeah, it came to that. But I listened to your podcast, dude.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I started my own little thing on the side. It's called Cat Naps and Chats.
And it's so you, dude. I looked at the design. Did you make that?
Yes.
It's so her, bro. I swear.
Oh, so I mean, I love doing this. Don't get me wrong, but I always end up just always like branching out on different things. So I'm by myself on this one. And, well, I want to talk about, like, conspiracies, ghost stories, haunted places, you know, asylums, cults. You know, I just like talking about whatever I can because I'm into everything. But we'll see what happens, you know, no pressure. Just kind of like a fun little side thing I'm doing.
I hope you don't leave us, though.
No, I don't plan on it.
Because people are going to miss you.
No, but at least the first episode is on the Adam Walsh case and how... You know, America's Most Wanted came about, how the Organization for Missing and Exploited Children came about, all from one case. So, yeah, a little bit about that. So, but anyway, enough of the boring stuff.
Now that we got that out the way.
Let's move on.
Right.
Let's talk about those Menendez brothers.
Dude.
So, I thought I knew this case pretty well, and researching it again, I was like, the older I am, like, my mindset's changed a little bit, and I don't know. Because with this whole case, you know, the brothers Lyle and Eric, they killed their parents, and at first it was kind of like they didn't admit that they did it, but the second they were caught, they were like, so at that point it just turned into well, why did they kill their parents? Was it for the money, the life insurance policy, their inheritance, and then, or was it because they were being abused by their father pretty much their whole lives and they finally snapped? So it really depends on who you ask. But actually today on my lunch break I was watching the video, Eric kind of recalling some of the things that happened, and everyone in the comments was saying like they shouldn't be in prison anymore, that they killed their abuser. So that's why it's like this is a very torn case, because at the time no one had sympathy for them, but now as time has gone on, everyone's just like they have all the sympathy in the world.
Okay.
So that's why it's like it's a very like, you know, either you agree or you don't.
What do you feel? What do you think?
now I kind of think that they just finally snapped. Like, I kind of believe them.
So you do think that they
were abused?
Oh, come on, dude.
I do. I kind of think so. Because if you watch, like, when they were getting, like, during the trial and when they were asking them the questions, like, at first, you know, like I said, at first it seemed like they were faking it. And, like, there are some things that make me still question, but I don't know, like, the amount of detail and, like, you can just see in their faces, it's just...
I'm like a walking lie detector.
You think they just did it for the money?
Of course, dude. Because look, okay, well,
yeah.
I'm not gonna get into
we'll get into, you know, also since it was so famous, within recent years, I feel like it kind of gained popularity again because there's been TV movies in general, Netflix. There was like a little mini docu-series in the 80s, or sorry, on NBC. This case, like I was saying earlier, kind of like brought in the whole courtroom TV, blah, blah, blah type thing. So, because it was pretty much like the whole entire thing was televised. Like, you can still watch it on YouTube.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like the actual film?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll probably be inserting some clips like throughout this episode. But yeah, no, like you can see the entire trial on YouTube. But let's go into just a little bit into the beginning. So I'm going to actually talk about the parents first, just a little bit. So with the Menendez family, they were kind of, since the beginning, they were always kind of like seen as the American dream type family because the father, he moved to the U.S. at the age of 16. He was from Havana, Cuba. And once the Cuban Revolution happened, his parents sent him over. So he was sent over here by himself.
Right.
At 16.
Who would want to escape Fidel Castro? Fidel Castro, dude.
Yeah.
That was a tough son of a bitch, bro.
I know. That's why he's like, don't blame him.
Yeah.
Family saved him. But he was known to always be kind of like a, I guess, powerhouse. You know, he was always very confident in his skills, very smart. So he actually got a swimming scholarship to the Southern Illinois University. There he also met his future wife, Mary Louise. She goes by Kitty. So I'm going to be calling her Kitty throughout this episode. And seeing that was very weird because my nickname is Kitty. So I was like...
Your nickname's Kitty?
One of them, yeah. Some of my family calls me Kitty.
I didn't know that.
They met at school, fell in love very quickly. She fell for his charms and all that. So... they ended up moving to New York after they got married in 1963. And at first, his parents were very much against the marriage, but he told them, he was like, if I can move out and be on my own at 16, I could get married at 19.
Was it because she was white and he was a Cuban immigrant?
That could be it. At least on her side, a lot of her family and friends were surprised that she was dating a Cuban. And she would just smile and be like, but I love him. So she didn't care. I mean, like on both sides of the family, it seemed to be a little bit of like a, are you sure about it? But throughout their marriage, the family just kind of like was like, okay, whatever with it towards the end.
I mean, I'm not sure about him because, you know, if we as Hispanics bag a white girl, it's like, dude, yeah, you made it, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got papers, we got everything.
Oh my God.
Because he was an immigrant. Oh no, but they give...
No, but Cubans...
Yeah, they do, right? As soon as they... I don't know.
No, but even like to now to this day, like with Cubans, they're not... I don't think they're technically illegal immigrants.
Right, no.
Because it's U.S. territory, right?
No,
not U.S. territory.
No, that's Puerto Rico.
Yeah. No, but I know Cubans, like, they can...
I think because their whole country is like in a revolution at the time, like it was considered a refugee, right?
I think so. I don't know.
As soon as they touch land.
I know someone's gonna be like, you guys are fucking idiots. This is what it is.
We're not historians, dude. We like fucking creepy ass shit, alright?
Listen, I may be an idiot, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So that's why it's like, fuck off. Don't call me stupid. I know you're probably already typing it like, what the fuck?
Article 6 -9, right? Who cares, man?
Who cares?
Well, the thing is that it was a whole racial thing, right? I guess.
I don't know. I mean, there was nothing really saying that, really. Just the only bit was just like her friends were surprised because if you see her, you know, she's like blonde, white, and all that stuff. But she'd just be like,
he's a Cuban.
Yeah.
Damn cute.
And it was just, and she was just always kind of like, me, I don't care. And it seems like from his side of the family, they just didn't like how young they were to get married. So
maybe
that's why.
That's another thing.
Yeah. So that's why it was like there was I really don't know, but that's all it said. Really, that was like mainly the only pushbacks. But on her side, it didn't really even seem like a pushback. Everyone was just like, oh.
I guess I'm just trying to make it racial, right?
Oh, probably.
Maybe.
I didn't think it was racial or anything. They ended up going to, New York. Not after college, he ended up actually transferring to Queens College, and he was a dishwasher at a restaurant while he was getting his accountant degree. Again,
no shit, he was a dishwasher. You know who else was a dishwasher?
Who?
Tony Montana. Scarface?
Okay.
Dishwasher.
Well, he was a dishwasher.
Cocaine empire.
And look what he did. He was in the empire of industries.
Is that like the real Scarface? You think he sold cocaine?
His son was obsessed with Scarface.
Wow.
They were keeping.
I'm shooketh right now.
Oh my god. The two brain cells are like this with each other. They're rubbing up against each other. They're like, energy!
Why would you assume I have two brain cells?
I'm sorry, 3.
There you go.
No, but even during this, he was always known to be, hard worker. He was really fast at quick problem solving. And just, when he set his mind to something, he went after it, basically,
right.
Which is a really good thing to have. After he graduated, his first job was at an accounting firm, a really prestigious job. He impressed the right people right away, and only 3 years later, he was the company's president.
In 3 years. Mm-hmm. Wow.
By the time he was 35, he was the executive vice president in charge of the U.S. operations at Hertz. So he was he definitely bounced between different industries, but he always, once he, got a certain level, he just kept going up and up and up. So,
good for him.
Good worker. Obviously he worked really hard at it.
Right, yeah.
So it's good for him.
Which is going to repay to him very badly, right?
Yeah. But he got another promotion within a year, and then that promotion got him to $500,000 a year now. So
wow.
He's really, bringing in the money and everything like that. His attitude was known to be, quote, I'm a winner and I'm going to take this dog company and make it number 1. That didn't happen because he jumped to a different industry now. So he is now in the entertainment industry because when General Electric purchased RCA, where he was at, and he wasn't made president, he quit. He left. And he ended up getting another job at this movie place. I cannot pronounce the name. But they are responsible for the Rambo movies.
Oh, okay.
So he got a job there, and that's the job that got them out of New Jersey at this point, because he went from New York to New Jersey, and then New Jersey they went over to LA. So this movie business type thing got him to LA. Okay. So at this point the whole family's there. International Video Entertainment, or IVE, was failing. So when the production company bought it, they actually bought it from a former pornography distributor named Noel Bloom. And Jose, the Menendez dad, he did not like him. He didn't like the history that he had with the porno background and stuff like that. So they went to court a couple times. So they just did not like each other. Why? Because I said Jose?
No, the porno background.
Oh.
I mean, who would trust a fucking porno, anybody that had a porno background, right?
He was just a distributor though. So he didn't
but still,
do
though,
anything.
I mean, you're still in the thing,
Yeah.
You're still in the thing, dude.
But he just didn't like him, though. He was just like, nah, he's a bad guy, because I don't like him.
Okay.
So he just didn't, those people that you just meet and you're just like, fuck this guy. It was basically like that, but it was pretty mutual between the both of them.
Yes, I it's rare. It's rare for me not to like somebody. I like mostly everybody. I always, what's my problem?
Yes.
Side note, I always see the good in people. I always see the good in people, and that's what fucks me up.
Probably. Too trusting almost.
Yeah, dude. You could be the worst person ever, and I just see that goodness in you, that little bit of goodness that's in somebody's black fucking heart, right? Because she cheats on you. That's a, hey, dude, I'm just being real right now. I see that goodness, and
Yeah.
Like, I want that goodness to come. And this is not just
and then
one
you just
person.
think, like, damn, she did make a really good omelet, though.
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
I was close. It was still within the breakfast spam.
Pancakes. Damn, dude. Every morning she'll cook. Let's move on.
So that was a little bit about the, I guess, like, dad overall in the family.
His achievements, right?
His achievements, yes. And kind of also setting up the scene, you know, obviously, what do you already think of the dad? You know, very hard worker, doesn't know when to stop, just, like, keeps going, keeps pushing,
just
right?
like any immigrant dad.
Always wants to be better, right?
Yeah, of course.
So now with the kids, January 10th, 1968, Joseph Lyle Menendez was born, but he goes by Lyle. So
Lyle.
we'll be calling him Lyle throughout the show as well. Kitty actually quit her teaching job to be a stay-at-home mom for her son, and then by this time the family was already in New Jersey. So he was born in New York, but he like quickly went to New Jersey. So, and then while in New Jersey, Eric was born November 27th, 1970, so only 2 years later. So they only had 2 boys. Growing up, the boys were really pushed into sports, just like any Latino parent, honestly. At least we
Really?
my whole entire family, everyone was in sports.
What do you mean? Your dad's white?
My mom's side, like the Mexican side.
Really?
That I grew up with, yeah. We were all in sports. Only
What sport you played?
I was in soccer, softball, gymnastics, and ballet, and a lot of times at the same time.
You ballet?
Mm-hmm.
You ballet?
I was in ballet until I
can do the
was
whole-
15.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we
Tippy
were.
toes?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yes. That's why my toes are all fucked up. They're all like.
Wow.
At least as far as I know, a lot of
I did not know
the
that.
like Latino families,
Right.
like you always push your kids into sports, or if they're in sports, you're like, okay, now you're going to be the best one.
You know, my dad never did that for me. He always pushed me to work. He always every summer he'll take me to work with him at 5 a.m. I guess that's why I'm such a good worker. I guess.
Yeah.
I think I'm a good worker.
Well, maybe like instead of into sports, they did the same thing
That's
with
what
you,
it was,
just
yeah.
working instead.
Because he wasn't into sports.
Yeah.
He didn't like sports. My mom didn't either.
Well, probably that's why then. They did the same thing to you, but just work.
With work-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Thank you, Dad. And Mom.
But the main sport for the kids was tennis, actually.
Tennis?
Tennis. Both of them were really, really good. Eric was the one that kind of kept up with it throughout his entire life. Former coaches did say that while they were really good at sports, it just never seemed like they were having fun. For example, at one of like the swim meets when they were younger, you know, everyone, you know, they would go out and be like, oh my god, hey, blah, blah, blah. While the brothers, they would kind of like stay more to themselves and just kind of talk to each other than anything. Lyle was the older one, and he was, you know, the more outgoing, a little bit more of like a rebel, kind of did what he wanted. You couldn't tell him to do anything, even in his adulthood. If you gave him like unsolicited advice, he would like blow up at you and basically tell you like, mind your own fucking business type thing. Like, he just had a really bad attitude.
Okay.
Eric was more shy. He followed whatever his brother did, you know, like any other younger brother. Looked up to him and everything, but his swim coach did say that he just seemed like a really sad kid. You know, always just to himself, more shy. One of the examples that the swim coach said was, you know, afterwards all the parents were smiling and cheering for their kids, and while Eric did really good when he got done, his dad, like, just kind of like, instead of talking to him and just being like, oh my god, you did so good, like, blah, 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 his dad just kind of like was telling him very loudly, borderline yelling at him, like what he could have done better, how he messed up.
Wow.
Just embarrassing him. And the coach did say, and I quote, it seemed like Jose was so competitive. He was doing everything he could to try to make him better, but he was so completely overbearing. It had the opposite effect on Eric. Eric had so much less confidence because everything he did was just never good enough.
And that's coming from his own dad, right?
Yeah.
Like,
which,
that's fucked up.
at least with this, I kind of resonate with, because that was my mom. And if Mom, if you're watching this, don't act. I know you're going to pretend you're offended. Don't. I know you're going to know when she's watching this. She's going to be like, this is my brother. No, I didn't. Did I do that?
I never hit you, you liar.
No, she never hit us.
No, George
She
Lopez.
hit us.
George Lopez. I never hit you, liar.
Oh.
Cause my dad hit me one time. And I reminded him one time. What? I didn't. My mom used to with the shit out of me when I was little.
With the chocolate?
Oh, dude, whatever she could find.
The belt, and you're
whatever
just like.
She could find. That's why I'm such a good kid right now. A good man. I was a good kid that turned into a good man because I'm scared to get that ass whooping. Damn, when I got these tattoos, dude, she almost whooped my ass too. What you mean? And I'm already like old as shit.
You're like, Mom, I'm a grown man.
Like, Mom, I could fuck you up right now, dude, if I wanted to. I'm not.
And she just like slightly raises her voice. You're like, I'm sorry.
Mexican moms don't give a fuck, dude.
No, they don't.
They'll whoop your ass when you're 30 years old.
My mom still kind of scares me, though. Mm-hmm. I don't even live at home. This bitch is across the country, and I'm still scared of her.
Dude, I almost spilled my coffee. See, that's the difference between, like, Mexican parents, right? And the Menendez, dude.
Yes. Because, I mean, especially with...
They never got spanked, guarantee you.
But the thing is, though, too, a lot of the times, I guess... I don't know. I think with them, it was just like, you know, their dad obviously was Latino and the mom was white. And maybe it was like a different, I don't know, like there wasn't like an even balance or something. You know what I mean? Like my mom is fucking crazy, but my dad balances her out. So that's why it's like maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, start making up my own conspiracies. But I think maybe it's just like there just wasn't like a balance or something going on.
I like conspiracies.
Or something.
Oh, shit, dude.
The whole time, though, you know, Kitty was a housewife, stayed at home.
Is that her actual name?
It was her nickname.
But what's her real name?
Her name was Mary Louise.
So why Kitty?
I don't know. But if you read through it, like, everyone says Jose and Kitty. So that's why I'm referring to her as her nickname because it's obviously what she went by the most. At least except for Alejandro. But, you know, a lot of times when you're in a Latino household, you know, like I said, your parents want you to be the best one ever. So the boys would have to wake up like at 5 a.m. to be like practicing in their tennis courts, or they'd be hitting like the ball against like the side of the house, you know, just practicing and stuff like that. And then they would have their own private coach come help them out. And the private coaches... You have to remember, by this time he was making like fucking like $500,000 a year. The private coach would come and he actually quit because Jose would come out, or he would like either just like be there during the practices watching them and criticizing, or he'd be like in the house like looking at them through the window, and he'd be like come out on the practices like no, you're not doing this right. So the coach quit because he was just so over it. But he did say that like especially with Lyle, he would just go from 0 to 10 really quick. Like, his anger was just off the chart. And, you know, he did say he'd just take 5 balls and blast them as hard as he could. But they were really good. Lyle became number 1 in the Middle State Tennis Association under 18 division. So with the brothers, you know, they were very close. A lot of times, like, they were their own, like, best friends, I guess. And their classmates kind of always said that they just had, like, the ideal brother bond. Because, you know, Lyle would see Eric at school and be like, what's up, E-man? But like I said, you know, Eric idolized Lyle. He loved him, you know, wanted to basically be him, while Lyle idolized his dad. And he wanted to be just like him. He would tell stories to his friends all the time. He would quote his dad, like, with different sayings and stuff he would say as if he was, like, quoting a movie. He would be quoting his dad. And so it was very obvious that he just, like, idolized his father as much as he could. Okay. There was reports saying that he would try to like walk like his dad even, or have like the same mannerisms as him. Like he just wanted to be like his dad.
Which is kind of weird, right?
It is a little weird, but also it kind of goes into like the abuse allegations too. Kind of in a way makes sense. It's just like just to be like them. Maybe they'll leave you alone, or maybe they'll like you a little bit better if you are who they want you to be.
I just don't get it.
Lyle just wanted to be like his dad. He wouldn't, you know, really drink or do drugs or anything because his dad didn't drink or do drugs. But there was a time where he was out with a friend at a restaurant, and I guess he was treating the waitress like shit. And so his friend was like, why are you doing that? You know? And Lyle told him, like my dad says, they're here to serve me. So he was just a fucking dick.
He was a little Jose.
He was a little prick. He was a little spoiled brat. So much so that he got a job at a restaurant during high school, just, extra cash, like any other high schooler would. He saw that his check was only $33, and he said, I can find that just going through my laundry bag. And then he quit, like, right after that. One thing he also did, too, was he tried to make himself more street smart. Like, he understood the struggles. He said that he grew up in the ghetto, and, he had humble beginnings because he was in New York. His, Jose's family said that boy doesn't even know the definition of humble.
Right.
They said that they did struggle, yes, in the beginning, his parents, when they first got married, but by the time Lyle was born, they were fine. Now we're going to start slowly going into, like, the actual events. I just kind of wanted to paint this picture of the boys.
Right.
Kind
of these psychopaths.
Yeah. Now we're going to be in California. Jose got a really good job with, like, the movie entertainment industry. Now his salary is even up. It's now $1 million a year. The murder does take place in Beverly Hills, but when they first got there, they went to Calabasas. Kitty hated it. She wanted to go back to New Jersey. She did not want to be there, but her friends did say, like, she decided, like, just to tough it out, like, this is where she's at now. It's where her husband's at. But while they were there, the boys, they kind of started hanging out with, like, these, like, other rich pricks like them, where they would do burglaries. Why?
Ooh.
For the fun.
Sounds like fun.
For the thrill of it. They would break into houses, kind of like still like in the rich neighborhoods though. Like they didn't stray too far away, from their street.
Right.
So they were just mainly stealing like jewelry, cash. One time they stole a 100-pound safe. Why? Because they could. And once they kind of like got caught and everything like that, Jose and a lawyer named Gerald Chalif ended up being Lyle's attorney for the murders. They went ahead and they returned everything to the police. It wasn't with Lyle. It was Eric, the one that mainly got into that group. But Eric didn't get in trouble. If anything, Jose was super pissed. But he just kind of made him do community service. So all he got was community service from his dad.
From his dad.
Like he wasn't charged or anything. His dad was just pissed that he was hanging out with the wrong guys. So because of that, the family also started going to counseling or getting counseling for the boys mainly from Leon Ozell. And they also moved to Beverly Hills at this point.
Dude, these fucking people, dude. I'm not saying they deserved it. I'm not saying that. Because no one deserves that shit.
Yeah.
But come the fuck on, man. Like there's things that you do in your life, right? That is gonna like... You know what I'm saying, dude? Like if I keep poking a tiger, right? Every day there's a tiger and I'm just like poking that one every day. And then one day he's gonna fucking chomp me, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I deserve to get chomped. But dude, come the fuck on, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you feel the same?
No, yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's just like, I mean, granted, not every like rich kid is going to be a murderer. But they're little shits. Let's just get real here. They think they can get away with whatever they want, which is 100% the attitude that these guys did have, especially after the murders, so that's why it's like, no. Like, because like the whole time, like I feel like these kids just need to get an old fucking ass whooping. They just needed an ass whooping. Yeah, that's all they needed.
Since they were little. Or maybe once they're old, like somebody never whooped their ass, dude, if you're talking too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because, like, even, like, as an adult, some people are just like, you just need to get punched in the face right now. The boys mainly started therapy, but the whole family started going to counseling and everything. They got a new house. This was, like, $1 million house in Beverly Hills. Of course, they had their own tennis court. Eric was just getting better at tennis. Lyle actually ended up going to Princeton, so he went back to, like, like New York and all that. He wanted to eventually take over his dad's place in the company, and Eric was ranked 44th in the nation for under 18 for tennis. So it seemed like, the family was finally like, on the up, right? Everything seemed great from the outside. In reality, Lyle was suspended within his freshman year of school for plagiarism.
Right.
And Jose, instead of being to Lyle like, what the fuck, you seriously got suspended from Princeton, he went to the school trying to get it taken away for his son, and the school was just like wouldn't listen to him, so he was pissed at the school.
Poking the tiger.
Yeah, he was pissed at the school. So then Lyle asked, like, well, can you pay for, since I'm suspended for the rest of the year, like, can I go on this European trip and then you pay for it? And his dad was like, no, you gotta work. And he was like, well, I'm gonna go anyway. So he went anyway on like a 3-month European like backpack.
Poking the tiger. How old is he at this time?
He is, I want to say that he is going to be about 20 to 21.
Okay.
Because we're getting pretty close. Like, we're only like a couple months outside of the murders. And so when the murders happened, Eric was 18 and Lyle was 21. So they're kids.
I mean, I wouldn't say kids.
At least Eric, he's only 18.
No, that's not a kid. He's already old.
Maybe, no, Lyle's 21. I mean, granted, yeah, they're old enough to know murder isn't right. But at the same time, like, you know, at 18, like, you're a child.
No, don't say that.
Yes.
Because now people are going to be looking and they're like, oh, I'm 18, I'm a child. No, you're not a fucking child, dude.
No, when you're 18, you're like, I'm an adult. I can do everything.
Hey, you already know what the fuck.
Yeah, right? But also 18 is, you know, even though, yes, you are legally an adult, like, you can still make a lot of dumb choices. But not saying murder, not, you know, not justifying at all. But it's just, like, he was still young enough to be, like, naive. Of course, and also, like, with your brother, too. I
know a lot of people who are past 25, dude, who are naive.
That's what I mean. It's just, like, you know, like, you're still young, though.
23.
Like, 18, you can't really say that. Like, 18 is still pretty young.
No, yeah.
That's what I mean.
They're not kids, though.
No, I'm not saying they're kids. No, but, like, to me, they're kids. No. Like, an 18-year-old, I'm like, you're a child.
You're like 22, dude.
No, I'm not. How? I'm 25. I'm about to be 26.
No shit.
Yes. That's like when I see an 18-year-old at work, like, you know, when they're walking through the mall, I'm like, those are children. You know, 18 is still pretty young, though.
It is young.
Yes.
They're not kids, though. They're not children.
I know, they're not children, but, like, still, they're just young. And especially when you look up to your brother, you know. With Lyle, a lot of his friends did say, though, like, during this time is when a rocky relationship with his parents kind of started being more obvious to them, I guess. You know, like, they would see that he was struggling at school or within his personal life, but to his parents, he was like, oh, no, everything's fine. So that's when at least friends started to see, like, the cracks in a way. I mean, that is, like, 100% normal, too, though. And then also, like, his mom didn't support his lifestyle. She didn't like it, what he was doing. She didn't like his girlfriends. She was always like, don't you know any other, like, nice girls? So then Eric, he was doing really good in school and in tennis. After he graduated, he began to compete basically, like, full-time at this point, like, for tennis. Like, you know, he traveled around the U.S. and everything like that. Just 2 weeks before the murders, they were in Kalamazoo, Michigan for a USTA national tournament, and Eric won the first match but lost the second one. And he was also looking forward to starting to go to UCLA and, you know, play tennis there and eventually go pro. So now we're gonna get into it a little bit.
Dude, let's do it.
So August 18th, 2 days before the murders happened, one of Lyle's college friends noticed his ID was missing. He couldn't find it anywhere. We now know what happened, but the boys used his ID to go to a Big Five sporting goods store in San Diego where they bought 2 12-gauge shotguns. So they bought these guns like a few hours away from LA, you know, cover up the tracks and all that stuff. And then August 19th, the day before, the family went on a shark fishing trip on a yacht. And then August 20th is when Katie and Jose were found dead. So now we're going to go to the day. Okay. The infamous day. So August 20th, Lyle, again, was 21 and Eric was 18. They went to the movies. And then some reports said that they just, like, they went home because one of the boys, like, forgot their wallet or they just forgot something. So this is their story, right? So they went to the movies. They realized, oh, we forgot something at home. Go home. Front door and the front gate are wide open. They find their parents. And they're like, oh my god, they're dead. Right. So that's the story. It's funny because on the 911 call, Lyle is like hysterically crying, like someone killed our parents. And that call has been on SNL. They're making fun of it. Jim Carrey in his movie The Cable Man or Cable Guy or whatever.
The Cable Guy?
They make fun of it.
How? When? What scene?
So Ben Stiller, you know how he plays that guy who murdered his twin? During like the 911 call that they play during like the trial and the trial.
Cable Guy?
Yeah. They make fun of the...
Ben Stiller's not in that movie.
Yeah. Right?
The Cable Guy.
With Jim Carrey.
With Jim Carrey, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean. Like in the beginning, like no one
had
remorse, you know, for these guys. Obviously, they were like a punchline at this point.
But they weren't suspects at first, though.
No, they weren't. So when the police got there, they thought it was either the mob or a hired hitman. Mm-hmm. Just because of the way things were. Like someone actually went and picked up these shell casings. Also, they were found to have been shot in the kneecap. So they were like, could have been the mob, you know. And also with Jose's, like all of his connections and how he also had bad blood with that one guy, Noel Bloom. So there was in the moment, there was a lot, you know, not pointing towards the boys. When police got there, they saw that Eric was like sitting on the curb crying, basically, you know, about his parents and all of that. They questioned the boys, and that is when Lyle actually did say, like, you should look at Noel Bloom. So for the longest time, Noel was also trying to prove his innocence. Like, no, I just hated the guy. I didn't want him fucking dead. So this is what actually happened. Jose and Kitty were just sitting in their living room. You know, they were on the couch. Some people said they were watching TV. Some said they were like eating like a bowl of ice cream. One said that Kitty was taking a nap like on the couch while Jose was watching TV. But regardless, they were on the couch. Mm-hmm. You know, just chilling. The boys walked into the den and went ahead and shot Jose first. They ended up shooting Jose 8 times. For one of the shots, they put the barrel in his mouth and shot. Like, the back of his head was like...
Yeah, it's blown.
Kitty got up. She tried to run for the door. Didn't make it very far. They shot her in the legs to where then she started to slip on her own blood. And then they shot her in the arm, the arm, the chest, and the face. Her chest, I mean, oh my god, her face was basically like gone. She was unrecognizable, and one of her hands was almost completely shot off.
And you know what, you're describing that, dude, and it sounds like I didn't know the details of the murders, right? Like, I put myself in that situation, and like me blasting the shotgun, kind of like blasting her face, dude, like with anger. Like, they were angry at these people.
They were mad, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they were just like, I hate you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which no hitman would do that.
Exactly. With the hitman, it would be one. I don't think it would even be a shotgun, because shotguns, correct me if I'm wrong, are like loud. First of all, right?
Well, I mean, any gun is.
Well, no,
but they're
like,
messy.
But if you were like a hitman, you would get like a silencer, or you know, it would be like a one.
Yes.
Or it would be on both of them. It'd just be like one shot.
A pistol. Most likely something like, easy. You're breaking into a home, right?
Yeah.
You don't be quiet. Maybe use 22 9mm, right? Like the cops back in fucking LA shooting. You know, something sexy, small, quiet.
Yes.
These motherfuckers went in there with 2 shotguns, dude.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, no hitman was gonna do that.
And I don't think the mob either. And if it was the mob, they would have, I don't know, like probably like cut off a finger or something.
Molotov cocktail, probably. A bomb. Some mob shit.
Like that. This was messy, and it was obviously a crime of passion.
Right, dude.
And also, you know, like I said, they all picked up like the shell casings too. Like they cleaned up after themselves. Obviously, you know, the boys weren't like bloody and stuff like that. After they killed their parents, they got rid of the guns, changed clothes, cleaned up. They actually went to the movie theater to buy a ticket, so they had an alibi and everything like that too. So this was planned. Regardless of why it happened, it was planned. It wasn't like a spur of the moment type thing, which when it's just like, you know, regardless of the reason why, it was very much planned. Right. You know, after the murder happened, this is kind of where they like fucked up, I guess. You know, the police, they did think that they could have had a connection after a while, after nothing else was kind of panning out. So after just like a couple months, they had their eyes on the boys, actually. Like after 2-3 months, they were already like, maybe. because the boys were entitled to I saw something that said $5 million initially, and then another report said that Jose was worth $14 million. And something happened to where the boys couldn't get like the money like right away.
Right.
So they were just kind of spending whatever was like on hand, I guess. So they were free for 6 months. Within those 6 months, they spent $700,000 to $1 million. They brought brand new cars, went on vacations, had parties. On August 24th, the day before the funeral, Lyle spent $15,000 on 3 Rolex watches. Jose's secretary, she said that on the way home from the service, Lyle kind of like lifted up his pants and showed off his new leather loafers and was just like, who said I couldn't feel my father's shoes? On the way home from the funeral.
Oh, okay.
And then
the guy, dude.
And then he just kind of like turned to his friend in the car still like, do you think like we can get tickets for the US Open? Just so nonchalant.
Right.
You know. And then also at this time, Eric, he decided not to go to school. He instead hired a private tennis coach for $60,000 a year. And he started training so he could eventually go pro. So that's what I said. Eric actually kept up with the tennis, but you know, he would buy clothes, watches, and he gambled. He traveled between Israel and the US for tournaments.
Okay, so he was actually playing tennis.
So he was like actually playing.
Well, but what fucks me up is that his parents just died, right? Mm-hmm. The mob or whatever just killed him. Why would you be like going on sprees like that?
Exactly why.
You know what I mean?
That's what kind of caught the police's attention. Just kind of like, wait a minute, these kids aren't acting like grieving kids.
Right.
But Lyle went back to Princeton, but not for school. So he now was just like, oh, I have the money. I'm going to become like my dad. I'm going to own businesses and all that. So he bought a restaurant. He bought some real estate. He also tried to invest in like a rock concert festival type thing. Never took off. Never even happened. They ended up moving out of their mansion that they had with their parents, and they both got their own condos in Marina Del Rey, and they were neighbors. So that's where they would, you know, throw their parties and all that stuff. But during this, you know, they were still going to their therapist, and their therapist always was recording the sessions. Mm-hmm. Eric just was guilt-ridden. He felt so bad. He confessed to his therapist. Right. He actually had a mistress, and supposedly him and this mistress, their relationship was very abusive.
The therapist?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
So therapist told the mistress, right?
Uh-huh.
He like threatened her and all that stuff, so she's like, fuck you, blah blah blah. So she went to the police and said, these guys, they killed their parents and I have proof. So she turned over everything, you know, the recordings and all that stuff.
Like a good Samaritan.
So they got caught. Lyle was arrested in Beverly Hills, and Eric was in Israel for a tennis match, came home, and then 2 days later, like after everything, he went ahead and he turned himself in.
Huh.
So that's how that happened. You would think like, oh, this is where it ends. They have the proof. They're in jail. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Nope.
Not with money and lawyers, dude.
No. The judge, after like 7 years, or no, I'm sorry, after 30 months of fighting, because the boys were tried separately, right? Like they weren't together at first. The judge ended up ruling that portions of their confession were going to be admissible in court because it violated the patient and doctor confidentiality rule. So that's what kind of stalled it for a really, really long time, because it was over these tapes. Like that was the confession. And so the California Supreme Court came in and the boys were indicted December 7th, 1992. They were still tried separately. So for both of the jury, or for both of the boys, the juries were deadlocked. Like they just could not come up with like a unanimous vote on if they were guilty or not guilty. Because at this point, yes, we did know that they did it, but now it goes into the question, was this in self-defense, or was it like, you know, premeditated cold blood murder? Yep. That's where the jury was really caught between. Then 2 years later, they were tried again, but this time together, because their separate trials were deemed mistrials in the end because, you know, the jury just couldn't do anything. So now they're going to be together. This is where a lot of, like, the famous pictures of them where they're wearing, like, their sweaters as if they just, like, left brunch with their friends. And they're like, oh, I got to go to court. Like, you know how usually the suspect or the criminals, I guess, when they're in court, you know, they wear, like, a suit and glasses and clean hair. You know, they try to make themselves look more innocent, more polished, right? These guys, not that they didn't look polished, but they weren't wearing suits. They were wearing, like, sweaters and, like, sweater vests. When they were together is when they really started to go into detail about the sexual abuse that they got from their father. I'm not going to go into that, really. I'm not going to say any, like, real quotes or anything like that on what happened. Because, one, you can easily look it up. You can watch it come up straight from their mouths. But, yeah, they said that their father was sexually abusing both of them from the ages of 4 all the way to 18. So, basically, their entire lives. He was doing this. They said that one of the ways that they just thought it wasn't weird is because, you know, they were playing sports and his dad would be like, oh, let me massage your muscles and all that stuff. So that's kind of like how it started, and then it turned into, you know, more. And they were really pissed at their mom because no one really knows if the mom knew or not, because to the boys, it seemed as, like, of course, if it actually did happen, from the way that they describe it, it seemed as if the mom, like, knew it was going on, but she just kind of, like, blocked it out because he was already known to be cheating on her all the time, like, constantly having affairs. So they said that she was, like, an alcoholic, a useless mom. Like, she was always absent in their lives because she was just, like, always just so sad about her husband. It's sad. Of course, I don't want to say, like, oh, no, they're lying or whatever, because if it happened, it happened. And, like, you know, obviously this has, like, you know, if it affected them in a way, like, because if you do look at their interviews, like, and stuff like that, they do look really torn, but
well, yeah, no shit. They just killed their parents and they got caught.
Yeah, so that's
gonna be torn.
No, but that, like, from the way that they described everything that happened. So, but this is where when they were tried together is when they were, like, really asked in detail and everything like that happened.
So the first trials, like, did they bring that to the table?
They did, but they brought it to the table, like, within a week before the trials were even going to start. So there was, like, virtually, like, no time to prepare.
That's kind of fishy. That's sus, dude.
Exactly why that kind of got a lot of people, too.
That's sus.
So...
Suspicious.
But what they said, what happened was, you know, they were just sick of it. They're sick of the abuse and everything. So you have to remember, Eric was 18. Theoretically, it was either still going on or it just stopped. Because it said that he's been doing this until they were 18.
Which is kind of weird. Like, why would you do that? Why would you? Oh, until you're 18. Like, 18. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not buying none of that shit, Kat.
It could have been like Lyle. Well,
I'm
no.
not buying it.
Because I was going to say with Lyle, remember, he moved out and went to college. So that's why it's like, to him, it probably stopped because of that. And Eric was still at home.
Not buying it.
No, I'm just saying, like, that could be it. So what they're saying is what happened was they, you know, were just sick of it. They confronted their dad. They're like, we're going to go to the public about this. We're going to, like, ruin your reputation if you don't just stop and, like, just leave us alone, all sort of stuff. They said that their dad, like, threatened them and they were scared. So that was, like, the only way that they can see, the only way that they saw that they could protect themselves, basically. So that's why they did it. Ultimately, in the end, was, like, to protect themselves.
And this is all because they hired one of the most prestigious lawyers. I forgot her name, dude.
She had, like, the curly hair.
Yeah, dude. She was one of the best lawyers that money could buy. That's why.
Yeah.
But it all fell apart, though. It fell apart.
Stories from, like, friends and family. They were like, we've never seen any of this happen. At least in court.
Right.
You know, they said that they just never saw it. That they always saw Kitty being a very, like, devoted mom, like, loved her sons. They saw Jose as, like, a really stern dad and strict, you know, but not abusive, at least. So that kind of, like, bit them in the ass a little bit. But like I said, that was in court because a few years after, one of their cousins said, yeah, I remember him, or I remember Lyle telling me this when we were younger. You know, the stories of, like, the abuse and stuff like that. But this happened after, you know, so that's why it's like, at least in court, there wasn't a lot of evidence, I guess.
That also could have been lies, though. We don't know if that was real or not.
You don't know. But by the time that, they came out with this story and everything like that, the country already saw them as, like, snobby rich kids that try to get, that tried to just kill mom and dad because they were pissed. When they were getting questioned, Deputy District Attorney Pamela Bosnich, I don't know how to say your last name, Pamela, she asked Lyle while he was on the stand. She said, quote, "What you did was you killed your parents and then began spending their money, right?" Lyle: "Well, that's something that happened, but I don't think characterizing it that way is putting it in the right context." Pamela: "Well, why did you need to buy a Rolex 4 days after your parents were killed?" Lyle: "I didn't need to." Pamela: "You wanted to."
But I mean, she's right, though.
I mean, because that's one of the things too. It's just like, if it did, if it did really truly happen because of that, it's just like they didn't need to go like on $1 million spending spree right away.
No. I want to say that, like, if somebody murdered my mom, I would do some time, dude. I wouldn't be scared to kill somebody. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna put it out there. I will kill somebody if anybody hurt my mom. You understand me? I don't give a fuck, dude. But I guess in their situation, because I'm thinking in the way of, like, if my mom was to get murdered, like, I wouldn't be thinking about buying Rolex watches.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Their whole story was they came home and they were murdered. Right. That was their whole story, that they came home and they were murdered.
And then they changed it.
Yeah, in the beginning, because they didn't want to get caught, which is, obviously they kill someone, they want to get caught, but it's just like, if you're going to play the role and be like, I came home, my parents were dead, you gotta, like, play the role.
Right. Their excuse is that they were abused. They were being molested, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I can't really put that hard into, like, my mother that I would kill for. Because they were being molested. Like, my mom never did that shit to me. So, like, I have the sentimental towards my mom. Them, it's not that case because it was, like, doing bad things. So it's like, but then again, they didn't do that from the beginning, did they?
What do you
mean?
The
whole molestation thing?
No, they didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
No, so that's why, like, by the time that came out,
it was kind of like an scapegoat.
Yeah, like, there wasn't a lot of public sympathy. Like I said, they were made fun of on SNL. They were, like, parodies about them, basically. Because if I'm pretty sure, like, if they came out with it, just from the get-go, they're just like, yes, it was us. This is what happened. I snapped. Couldn't do it anymore. Our mom fell victim because she was just so, like, she was in it, basically. Even though she may not have done anything, but she kind of, like, let it happen. According to their stories, like, she just kind of like a don't ask, don't tell type thing.
Right.
If that's the case, they should have played it a little bit more.
Yeah.
At least pretend to grieve your parents a little bit.
If someone comes and fucking rapes me and is raping me for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And then I get fed up with it and I kill them. Like, that's what I'm gonna say from the beginning.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, this is what happened. Man, like, I've suffered all these molestations. Man, I got tired. I popped them, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like, that's just fishy. They
would
be like, oh, I went in. They're just changing the story. Just say the truth, dude.
Because, of course, like, when you just hear the way they describe things, like, you want to, you want to feel for them because you're just like, you don't want anyone to go through that. But at the same time, you're just like, there's a lot of, like, just weird.
And you know what, dude? Like, it's not like I'm not because I've been in a situation like that. You know that, right? I was when I was little. So it's not like I'm trying to, like, discredit that. None of that.
Yeah.
I turned out fine, but it's just too. It's too fishy, dude.
It's too weird.
It's too weird. They killed their parents in cold blood. That's what they did. And you know why? Because they wanted the fucking money, dude.
It could have been $14 million to them.
Wanted the money, cat.
But when they started coming out the abuse, friends and family were very torn too, because some of Jose's family said that he's a fucking monster. Like, these kids killed their abusers. The dad's own family said that about him.
Right.
But then you would also have friends saying, like, I was with them, like, last week and they were fine. So that's why it's like, some people, it's very torn, even within their families. Jose's brothers and sisters and Kitty's brothers and sisters type thing.
Right.
So that really played a role into it. But ultimately, because of how obviously planned it was, the jury found them guilty first-degree murder, and they were sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
Good.
So they're both alive, you know. Yeah, they're both still alive. It's only been like, I think 30 years or almost 30 years.
Holy fuck, dude. Yes, yeah. I just turned 31.
Oh, yeah, because it happened in 89. Yeah.
89?
Yeah.
89? Yeah, dude.
But they were, it took 7 years, though, for them to be found guilty. Because of all the stalls and all that stuff. So by the time they were found guilty, I think like the oldest one, Lyle, was like 25, 26, something like that. So what was it? Yeah. But later on, like one of their cousins, you know, like I said, she said that she believes them because Lyle told her stories from when they were little and about like how their mom's always like drunk or always on drugs or something like that. And then also besides like the graphic stories, and all of that, one of Jose's co-workers, or like it just said close work friend, so I guess a co-worker, basically said that, yeah, like Jose was always cheating on Kitty, and also said Jose would fuck an umbrella. So even like Jose's close friend said that he was fucking everything. During the trials, during the two, like, so this started, like I said, this started like the whole like court reality TV type thing. So it started with the separate trials, and then of course it moved on to the together ones, essentially. So that's how a lot of people got interested in it. That these guys got a lot of fangirls, obviously. I mean, they weren't ugly, but they were murderers. So you know, girls were proposing. Yeah, proposing. They're love to them, sending them photos, all that other stuff. They had fangirls. They had stans. After the verdict, but before the sentencing, the boys sat down with Barbara Walters for their last interview. They both had like their prison uniforms on. Barbara, she just didn't believe their shit. She saw them as like spoiled rich kids who try to get away with it, bratty and all that. She called them spoiled, like to their face. And Eric said, "I'm just a normal kid." And she yelled back at him, "Eric, you're a normal kid who killed your parent." And he smiles, looks up at her slowly and says, "I know."
That son of a bitch, dude. I'm glad he said that.
And so they thought that they were going to be in the same prison together, but they weren't. They were separated. And actually recently, I forgot which brother it was, but one of them transferred to the other one's prison. So now they're together in prison after being separated for, you know, since 97, I think it said that was the last time they saw each other.
97.
Was in 97. And, you know, they kept in touch with each other. They wrote letters and all that stuff. Jose's sister, she has done interviews and she said that she thinks that they shouldn't be in prison, that they, you know, her brother was a monster. And she also says that the way that they are now, you know, they're good kids, or good men actually now. You know, that they're good men, and, you know, she was there when both of them got married. She obviously loves her nephews and she's kept touch with them and stuff like that. So that's why, again, it goes into the whole, like, now a lot of people are in support of them. Like, they should not be in jail, that they did kill their abusers.
But I think that's beside the point. Like, murder is murder.
Oh, no,
right?
yeah.
Murder is murder. You didn't have to kill him.
Yeah.
You killed him.
I'm not condoning any murder, but it's like if someone suffered abuse and all that and they killed their abuser. It's
allegedly also.
No, at least with these boys, yes, it is, you know, like, I don't want to downplay anyone's abuse because, like I said, for as far as we know, we don't know. That's why I don't want to downplay anything.
We don't know. And might I add, they went to buy shotguns. Like, they planned that.
But they've both gotten married while in jail. Eric married his pen pal, Tammy Ruth. She in 1999.
These fuckers got married? What the fuck?
They got married.
What's wrong with the world, dude? I'm over here single as shit, dude.
And they got married.
And these fucking killers got married.
2 years after he went to jail too. Eric got married Eric got married in 1999 to Tammy Ruth.
Oh, shit.
Lyle first got married to Anna Erickson in 1996, but they divorced in 2001 when she found out that he was writing to other women. And he got married again though to Rebecca Sneed in 2003. Eric's wife, Tammy, she has said, quote, "Our wedding cake was a Twinkie we improvised. It was a wonderful ceremony until I had to leave. It was a very lonely night. She has released a book and she's done different interviews and everything about it.
Oh, that's why she got married.
Eric, but she's not like super into the public eye. At least though, like her book, she wrote it like a little bit after they got married, like a few years after. But as of recently though, like she doesn't really do a lot of interviews. Neither one of their wives do actually. But Eric did an interview, like of course, like over the phone. And one of the things he said about Tammy was that Tammy is what gets me through. I can't to think about the sentence. When I do it with great sadness and primal fear. I break into a cold sweat. It's so frightening. I just haven't come to terms with it yet.
How does that work? A marriage in prison?
Long
Are you like allowed to have sex with other people?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to, right?
It's a conjugal visit.
No. Like not between them because he's in prison.
Yeah, the conjugal visit.
No, but like I mean, like kind of like an open relationship.
Oh, I think that's more so up to them,
right?
If whatever they're comfortable with.
Because like if he's locked up all the time, and then like I mean he's in prison, right? You know what happens in prison? People be dropping the soaps, right?
Yeah.
Some people like it, you know, and then her, of course, you know, she's gonna get attention.
I mean,
it was perfect for the woman because the girl's like, okay, he can't get any pussy. I'm sorry, he can't get any trim in there, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no girls, so for her it's fine.
I'm also thinking like,
but for him it's like, dude, there's 20 guys that want to be with her, maybe more.
I mean, it could just be up to them too, though. I mean, you know, long distance, and also. They're murderers, but they're probably now really nice guys and they really like that. But if you think about it, she's like, he's in jail though. It's not like he can like do something to her.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's why it's like, it might just be a good relationship.
Well, but what I'm saying is like, why the marriage though?
I don't know. But
you're supposed to marry somebody that you could like be out and, hey, let's travel to Europe, you know?
Yeah.
I'm in prison, dude. I can't.
I'll send you photos.
Wait, they've been married since '99.
Yeah.
Oh, she's cheating. Hands down. Since '99, dude.
They've been married.
And it's 2020.
And it's 2021.
It's 2021 already? That's what, dude. That's like 30 years.
And then Lyle, he's been married to. I mean, he has a second wife, but he's been married since 2003. So that's already. 18 years.
They have to be.
They both been married for a while.
They have to be getting something outside. They have to.
I don't know.
It's just not possible.
But that's the case. That's it.
I'm glad they're in jail. I'm glad. I wasn't buying that one bit, dude. It's sad, dude. I'm glad these motherfuckers are in prison. Cause like think about it. They bust in there, right? Shoot their dad. So that means their mom was like screaming and yelling. Probably don't kill me to her own sons, dude. Like Nene or whatever. Dude. Your own mother was begging you not to kill her.
Yeah.
You understand me?
No,
dude,
I do.
I will cut off my heart and give it to my mom. You think I'm playing so she can live? You understand? Your own mom was telling you not to kill her, dude. I'm glad these fucking pieces of shit are in jail. Fuck them, dude.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you guys think? Do you think they did it out of, like, self-defense and they finally, you know, snapped? Or do you think it was, you know, the money and it was greed and not so much opportunity because obviously they planned? Like, what do y'all think? I'm really curious because, like I said, back then, you know, they were being made fun of. And then now, like, like I was saying, like, when I was looking through the comments, like, they were within just a couple months. And people were saying, like, they should not be in jail. They killed their abusers. They don't deserve life sentences. So that's why it's like, I know the times have shifted and stuff like that. And, you know, we, especially with abuse, my foot slipped. But especially, like, you know, with abuse victims and stuff like that.
Right.
They're taken a little bit more seriously. Especially men, you know. Because everyone has, like, this idea. Because before, like, every time, like, you hear a woman being abused, you're like, yeah, no, of course. But with a guy, it's like, how can you be, you know, stuff like that. Right. There's always a stigma. That's why it's like, I understand, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I'm just comparing, like, from back then to now, like, how the, I guess, public verdict is so different. That's why I'm just so curious. Like, what do you guys think? Like, how do you sit? Or if you remember this from back then, like, did you think a certain way? Did it change now? Or is it still the same? You know, like, what do y'all think?
But, hey, don't forget the merch.
Yes. Check out the merch. The Squad podcast. Sounds so weird to say my podcast.
The what?
I said it sounds so weird to be like my podcast.
It's your podcast.
I know, but it's weird. But yeah, check everything out. Everything's gonna be linked down below. But yeah, I think that's it. Bye, guys.